Good afternoon and welcome to Inside News. It's our Wednesday show, Jour du Galop, and we're going to talk a little bit about last week. Obviously the barrier trials, and it's Barbie Cup is building up. You can feel the sort of atmosphere around in training in the morning. Our second classic, that'll be run next week Sunday, and a lot of horses are preparing for the Barbie Cup. Quite an exciting race building up. And then obviously we're going to talk about a couple of horses that myself and Shahil have seen in the training in the morning. Let's start off with last week. A little bit of a rough start with 7 colours. I have to say Zenzero was very unlucky not to win. Frivolous objection. I thought the second horse, the grey horse, sort of, I thought the jockey rode a good race to sort of keep Manuel Nunes in there, and he tried to object, but I reckon he was very, very unlucky. But bit of a rough start with 7 colours, and then obviously it got a little better. Let's talk about that great race, Waltag and Uzo. I thought it was a terrific race, one of the best races I've seen in Mauritius for many, many years, and unfortunately it went up to the Stipestrom for the objection. I have to say, in my opinion, it was a fair decision, even though my money was on Uzo. But I reckon it was a fair decision. Well done to the stewards. If you have a look, there definitely was contact. The winning margin was 0.02, and it was just a pity that such a great race had to end up in the Stipestrom. I don't know, Shahil, what you thought about the objection. You think it was a fair result?
Yeah, well, like you said, the race was great, actually. They eyeballed each other throughout the race, and the way that they just kicked on again in the stretch, they went clear of the field. But yeah, the objection, in my opinion, I thought Uzo would have held on, because I don't think there was much in it. There was a similar case at Greville on Sunday, and the winner didn't get demoted, so fair decision or not, we'll leave that up to the Stipes.
Yeah, well, I personally think they made the right decision. I have to say, Waltag was very, very impressive, because Uzo went past him about a half a length, and Waltag, from being out in front, came back and beat him again. And on paper, that 3 kilogram swing, the turnaround in the draw, I couldn't see Waltag beating Uzo.
Even the distance, I think it was his first time over 1500.
Right, yeah, well, and talking about the Vincent and Ella Derek David combination, obviously Cool at Heart, he won again. That's 5 wins this season. The Barbie Cup, I see he probably will be nominated. I wonder if he'll take his place. He should. I mean, look, it's a lot of racing for him, but maybe they've got the Barbie Cup in mind, and then maybe put him away for a little bit.
I don't know, the way he won, I watched the interview of Vincent Allet after the race. He said that it's because of 61 kg that they didn't want to go for him too early, so they tried to manage him. Do you think that's right, or is he getting tired a little bit?
Yeah, I personally think that his penultimate win was a lot better than this win. But I mean, it is his 5th start, carrying 61. It looked like it'd probably be his easiest task to date, but maybe those legs are getting a little bit weary.
Would you risk him running him next week?
Listen, if he was my horse, I probably would have given this 4-year-old a miss and gone straight for the Barbie. But I mean, I'm not the trainer. It's everyone would sort of try different things, but I think I probably would have given the 4-year-old championship a miss and gone straight for the Barbie. But let's see, he's still doing well. I mean, you can't ask more than 5 out of 5, and Cool at Heart, he's really turned into a beautiful horse. And anyway, well done to Vincent Allet. He's really turned both these horses, Waltag and Cool at Heart, around. Right, I wanted to talk about Hippique. He was my original value bet. Unfortunately, with the scratching of From the Ashes, the price dropped down, but a masterful ride from Daryl Holland. And I said on Friday that this Daryl Holland has sort of like got the better of Hippique, because he's a difficult horse to ride. I don't know if you saw him go down to the start. He really gives the jocks a hard time, but he settled him beautifully, and look at that tremendous finish he had, and well done to Daryl Holland. And another great ride has to be man from Seattle, Pierre Stradham. I thought he gave him a good ride as well.
Yeah, he did, and like you said, Striker makes those horses jump, and he did make that on Man from Seattle. I remember I was telling you that when he passed the barrier trial, I said, can Striker make him jump? The answer is yes, and now he's won with him.
Yeah, I've always said Man from Seattle, he's a horse that I would never leave out a pick 6 or a pick 8, because I've always said the day he jumps, he'll win. But unfortunately, I would never sort of put money on straight onto him, because you never know whether or not you're going to get your value. Yeah, well, I think we're quite lucky in the likes of having jockeys like Daryl Holland, Pierre Stradham, Manuel Nunes. I think he rode another double, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, very, very nice to see some top jockeys riding here.
Now with 2 winners, hopefully he shut down some critics now.
Yeah, well, he's running for a good stable, and he should be having the winners. And yeah, I think probably a little bit unfair on him. I think the crowd's got a little bit sort of unfair on him, but we'll see. He's got some nice rides this well, some nice rides this week. Yeah, let's see how Nourish goes. Nice to see him back in the winners' enclosure. Right, let's talk about Two to Follow. The horse I want to talk about is Master of Spain from the Nagadu stable. And lots of talk when I arrived on course about this horse, and he was supported as well. He was quite well backed and fancied by his stable. Didn't get the best of starts. In fact, he sort of stumbled slightly just after the start, and then he raced 3 wide around that first turn the whole way. Eventually got him one off the fence, and this is where I think he lost the race at about the 500, 400. I think Jenna Baratier probably pushed the button too early in my opinion, and he sort of went for an early run, and at one stage up the straight I thought he was going to win it. But then eventually he obviously did run out of steam. I think he just did a little bit too much too early, and Taranaki came and sort of collared him on the post, and it was a tough race for him. It was a great run, and I think that obviously if you consider all the circumstances, he's definitely going to be a horse worth following in the future. Master of Spain. Nice to see Praveen with a nice horse like Master of Spain. He's got some good South African form. I think he's going to win a couple of races. He's definitely a horse that's worth following in my opinion. Right, the horse that you spotted, Shahil, was Power Tower.
That's right. The change of tactics definitely paid off for him. He was caught wide coming into the home stretch for the first time and up the hill too, until P.S. Stridham decided to push the button on him, and he joined Booklet up front into the back stretch. After traveling wide throughout the race, you'll think that he will fade away in the closing stages of the race, but he didn't. In fact, he gave Mind Blowing a tough time, and Mind Blowing had to fight to get through him. This horse has won over 2,000 meters back in South Africa, so definitely the step up to 1850 has benefited him. Also to note is that he's won from the front in South Africa, so that's why I said that the change of tactic definitely paid off for him. He has a rating of 34, so he can run the benchmark of 36, but I'm sure he must run over those staying distances, so definitely want to follow over these kind of races.
Okay, well that's our Two to Follow. That is the past. Let's move on to the future. And as I said, we did have 3 barrier trials. We're going to talk about all 3 because there was a new horse in each one of them. The first one, Bonnie Prince from the Sidol Yard. He had the yellow, trying the blinkers for the first time. Epic Sword, Rameshwar Gujadhur. He had the red. He's a new horse. And then Liquid Dynamite, Patrick Mervyn. He's repassing. Let's talk about Bonnie Prince. He won it. He won it quite well. And I think it's fair to say we can ignore his last run where the jockey lost his stirrup quite early in the race, and it obviously made life a bit tough for Bonnie Prince. He's bumped some good horses this year. I mean, you just have to look at that one run where he got beaten less than a length by Cool at Heart. He's run behind Ideal Secret as well. So he's obviously a very sort of talented horse, and very quick with the blinkers yesterday. I think the blinkers is going to make a big difference, just judging by that barrier trial. Remember, he too had the honour of given a race beating Uzo. Well, Uzo beat him, but he won that on objection. Obviously a very talented horse. I think the blinkers will make a difference. Epic Sword, well, he's had a lot of racing for this 4-year-old. He's a 2-time winner. Both wins were on the poly track, and has to be said that he's not the most consistent horse in South Africa. Nevertheless, he galloped quite well. It was quite encouraging, and we'll see how he goes off that 34 rating. He has run third behind that horse Born to Perform. Mauritian-owned Born to Perform. I saw Born to Perform ran yesterday. Unfortunately, he ran fourth. It wasn't a great run. Then Liquid Dynamite from the Patrick Mervyn stable. He's only had the one run. That was quite, it was almost a year ago. That was in July last year. Obviously, he must have picked up a little bit of a problem. Wasn't a bad run behind Flower Blue, but the fact that we haven't seen him for almost a year, he obviously must have picked up a little bit of a niggle, and you could see that he needed this gallop quite badly. Let's hope he's over his problem that he had. I see he is nominated for Saturday. Whether or not they'll run him, that remains to be seen. But Liquid Dynamite, let's hope he comes back nicely, because it looks like he's a decent horse. End of the day, Bonnie Prince with those blinkers, very, very good gallop. I'm expecting a big run from him if he does gallop, if he does run with the blinkers next time. Right, Shahil, you looked at the second barrier.
Yeah, we have 3 horses. Fury from the Gilbert Rousset stable with a yellow jacket. Special Force, a newcomer from the Pravin Nagadu stable with a green jacket. And in the loop, Patrick Mervyn with a blue jacket. Fury was tried with the blinkers. He galloped on nicely on the stand side to finish this trial and win it. Nouresh had always a tight hold of him, which means that the blinkers definitely has suited him. He has not been able to confirm that promising run on International Day when he finished third, only 0.07 length to Varside. He's had 2 runs this season where he finished 4th on on both occasions. Hopefully the blinkers can do the trick in his races now. Special Force, he's a 3-year-old by Crusade who's already had 14 career start. It took him 13 races to break his maiden tag. He won his maiden on the 1200 meters on the gravel poly track, beating Silver Song, who has been bought by the Debbie stable. He jumped well and he trialed nicely. It's interesting to see how he goes here as a 3-year-old. In the loop, he was very, very slow to begin. He never made up any ground on his two which were in front of him. He'll probably need to have a repass.
All right. Okay, that was the second barrier. Let's talk about the third barrier, where we had quite a nice horse in Mysterious Omen. But there was Silver Song from the Puritan Debbie stable, also a new horse. He had a repass, blinkers. Mysterious Omen from Pedro's stable, he had the green, he's a new horse, and then Big Smoke, he's the yellow jacket trying the blinkers for the first time. Let's talk about Silver Song. Very close at the finish, Silver Song and Mysterious Omen, but this was his second gallop, and you have to say it was a much better gallop than his first gallop, especially with the blinkers on. And he's had 4 close-up runs in South Africa. He looks pretty decent, especially off a rating of 26. And he was beaten by the horse that you mentioned, Special Force, back in South Africa. Special Force is at 29, Silver Song's at 26. But I like the way that he's improved from his first gallop. Then Mysterious Omen, another son of Captain Al Araz in Mauritius. We always said how much I love the Captain Als, and very consistent maiden form. In fact, his only one below par run was in that feature race on July Cup Day, that 2-year-old race. I think one of the Mauritian owners, I think it's Gilletsum, won that feature race. That's the only race that you could really sort of ignore, but it was a feature race. He ran a very good second to Donnan. Donnan's now a 3-time winner. So this horse hasn't won, but Donnan's come out and won 3 races. He's also rated 26. I think he's got a bright future. I like the way he galloped. And then Big Smoke, well, his problem has obviously been at the stalls, getting left. I see in South Africa as well he was getting left. They tried him with the blinkers. Have to say he jumped a lot better. And he's a horse to keep an eye on. I think that this horse with blinkers, probably a little bit like Man from Seattle. The day he jumps, he'll probably run a very good race, might even win it. So keep an eye on Big Smoke if he comes out with blinkers. That was a nice jump from him. But at the end of the day, quite a nice bunch of horses here, Silver Song and Mysterious Omen. Both these horses rated 26. Both of them, I think, are definitely going to win a couple of races here in Mauritius. All right, as I mentioned, we had some Barbie Cup gallops. So we're going to talk about the first 4 gallops. The first gallop was Black Cat Back, Saint Tropez. And, well, that wasn't a bad debut from Black Cat Back behind Nottinghamshire back in May. And there he's in front. He had the black jacket with the red cap. He holds off Saint Tropez quite easily in the straight. And, well, after his 3 wins in South Africa, he ran mostly in feature races. So he's got some good feature race form, this horse. And he was never disgraced in those feature races. But obviously, my question mark is whether or not he'll stay a mile. All 5 of those wins in South Africa was over 1400 a mile with the level weights, but it also depends on whether or not he's going to run or not, because I see he has been entered in Saturday's feature race as well at 1500. So from what I heard, he's not going to be the priority pick from the Gujadhur stable, but if he does run, it's going to be interesting to see how he goes over a mile with level weights. But from what I hear, I don't think he's going to run, Shola. I don't know if you've heard anything. From what I've seen, apparently he's not going to be their first choice to race in the Barbie itself.
Yeah, I think they've got Table and some of the good horses in this. I don't think he'll run.
Yeah, like I said, he is nominated on Saturday. This is why I thought it was worthwhile putting this video on, because that was a very good gallop with Saint Tropez. He went away from him easily. He looks like a classy little horse, this Black Cat Back, and well, obviously he's a 5-time winner, all over 1400. So let's see how he goes if he runs on Saturday, or if they save him for next week's Barbie Cup. All right, then you had a look at Peruski and Speed Limit.
He did. Peruski, he followed Speed Limit and came alongside him around the home turn. He galloped on nicely to finish this gallop, which visually wasn't really impressive, but I feel like Daryl Holland didn't want to give him such a tough time. But his time over the last 200 meters was quite impressive, because he finished in 11:64. He has not shown much in 2-star this season, but what can we say? He got beaten by the 2 best horses of Mauritius, White River and Cool at Heart. Concerning Speed Limit, he was obviously the pacemaker for Peruski, but he actually had a pretty decent gallop. He was a bit keen throughout the gallop, but coming to the home stretch, you feel like he wanted to go faster, but his apprentice didn't allow him that leisure. If he can find a nice race in a benchmark of, let's say, 61 or something over 1400, I reckon Speed Limit can pick up a winner till the end of the season.
Yeah, Peruski, I remember he won that, I think it was a Drill Stakes back in Gravel. He's a classy little horse. We can't write him off. I think he was one of the fancied horses to win the Duchess. He's sort of disappointed. His next run was a lot better. He's now had the gallop. I think we'll see a different Peruski come next week, Sunday. All right, then we had Starlastar and the very impressive Nebula. Let's start off with Starlastar. He did win the gallop. It was quite an impressive gallop from Starlastar, working alongside Nebula. He is an 8-year-old now, and when he won one race last year, remember it was over 2,200, so you would imagine that they're probably waiting for a race like that, sort of over ground for Starlastar. He's a stayer, but there was a pretty decent, impressive gallop from him. Maybe a horse to wait for one of those feature races or minor feature races over a little bit more ground. Then Nebula, well, he's had the 2 cracking runs here, second to White River, and then a very easy victory when he beat that top horse, Barry Tone. I think I would imagine a lot of people will be disappointed with his gallop. I'm not that disappointed. I know these good horses sort of save themselves. Pierre Stratum didn't give him too much of a sort of hard time, and I wouldn't be surprised if Nebula comes to races on next week Sunday 100% fit. He's obviously a very, very classy horse, this Nebula, and probably going to be one of the favorites to win the Barbie Cup.
Yeah, and that prep run that he won so impressively should definitely be one of the favorites.
Yeah, I wouldn't look too much into that gallop. Sort of these good horses, through my experience, they don't really always come to track, and they know that it's just really sort of workout time. It's like me when I go to the gym. I don't sort of work out that much. All right. I'll tell you one horse from the Rameshwar Gujadhur, the Scallop was very impressive, was Hard Day's Night.
It was, but his 2 start this season hasn't been so convincing for the reigning horse of the year. But he, like you said, he looked much better yesterday. His time was also very impressive. He ran in 1:8:30 over the 2,000 meters, which is pretty nice. Pierre Stratum just shook the reins at the top of the stretch, and he responded really nicely to win this gallop. He worked alongside Gingerbread Man, and this horse has a lot of work under the belt, and this gallop will not cause any harm to him. He can strike on debut for his new stable of Rameshwar Gujadhur stable. He's entered in race 5 over 1,500 meters for a benchmark of 51, which is a tough race. Like Naushad was speaking to us, there's like a bad attitude and crazy vision in there, so that's going to be a beauty of a race come Saturday.
Yeah, I wonder if at the end of the day, I suppose Pierre Stratum would obviously ride Nebula, but maybe he too was disappointed with Nebula's gallop and impressed with Hard Day's Night. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if it was me, I'd definitely be jumping on Nebula.
Let's not forget that we don't know if White River is going to run or not. He's had a go around the track this morning. I see a post on Facebook. He walked like 15 minutes in the trotting track, so we don't know how fit. Is he going to be fit for the Barbie next week?
Yeah,
tough choice for Pierre.
Yeah, I can't see them nominating him. But anyway, that's just my opinion. Right, let's talk about the sand track work. We've got 8 horses we want to talk on because we obviously spoke about these gallops. We don't want to go on forever. The first horse I want to talk about is Captain Gone Wild. He is one of my 2 follows. And who can forget that brilliant debut of his when Manuel Nunes rode him. He ran the whole race with his ears pricked. He's obviously a very green horse. I thought they'd probably think about gelding him, but maybe they want to get a run or 2, or maybe even finish the season and then sort of geld him on the off-season. But he looks like he's behaving himself a little bit better. Pierre Stratum striding out beautifully under Pierre Stratum yesterday. And when he returned to the paddock as well, he was nice and relaxed, wasn't blowing. I really believe that this is a big run on Saturday. He is nominated in a 31 and a 26. The 26 is the 1600. I would imagine they're going to go with the 1600 26. And I think that if he does run in that rating of 26, that 1600, he's going to be a tough horse to beat. Really like the way that Captain Gone Wild's taken that first run. And I think he's going to be a lot more alert this time. And I reckon he's going to take quite a lot of beating in that race. Right, you had a look at Bye Bye Rocket.
I did, and this horse is really catching the eye of the track work, you know. He has a lot of work under the belt, 16 gallops, including a barrier trial not so long ago. He worked well under Manuel Nunes, even though if you had to give him 1 or 2 smack on the shoulders. He's still a bit green, which is obvious as he's had only 2 career starts back in South Africa. And what's most impressive is that he finished second on debut before going on to win that 1 million Monaco maiden sprint. And winning that race, many winners have come out of that race, so that means he could be absolutely anything, this Bye Bye Rocket.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, he looks like a nice horse. What is his rate? Did you see what his rating was? I'm not sure where he's going to start his career here in Mauritius, but he does look like a classy little horse, Bye Bye Rocket. I like the name as well. All right, let's move on to another one of my 2 follows. That's Patrol Officer. You have to say, very unlucky in both his first 2 starts here in Mauritius, especially that start last time. where he zigzagged across the track. He looked superb coming off the track. He really looks well. This horse, the stables hit some form now. They've had 2 winners. Naresh Juggler will probably have a little bit more confidence. After all those go-homes he got the previous week, but he managed to pull off those 2 winners. So the stable and the jockey in form. I really believe that this horse will be very, very hard to beat in that race on Saturday. I think it is the 3rd race. It's a benchmark 36 over 1600. The horse has had 2 runs now. Probably been a little bit green. He'll obviously be a lot better this time, and I think that Patrol Officer going to be quite a hard horse to beat in that 3rd race at benchmark 36. Right, Shahil, the impressive Parrot Palace who won last time, you had a look at him. Yeah. Come on from that run.
He did. Beautiful win last time, like you said, when no one could catch him. The stable was obviously very confident that day because they backed him like they knew the result. He looks to have kept his good form at track work. It's obvious that he's a tough horse to get past once he's in front. If he finds a nice race and gets a decent draw, I believe he'll be very hard to catch again. And from what I've seen from our friend Naushad's post, there is a benchmark 61 over 1400 meters next Saturday, and that race should definitely suit him perfectly.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Darryl Holland's going to ride this week or next week, because I see the stable has got a couple of nice horses nominated this week. Yeah. If this horse is in, did you say that race is on Saturday or Sunday?
Next Saturday.
Okay, yeah, so I would imagine he'd probably want to hang around, spend the day on the beach this week and ride Parrot Palace next week.
Probably.
All right. Bad Attitude. Well, after his very easy victory last time, carrying top weight in a benchmark 46, he now steps up to a benchmark 51 where he will be carrying top weight again. But he's a very good horse. He's obviously very talented, and he's hardly put a foot wrong in Mauritius and deserves all the respect that he gets. It's a 1500 meter on Saturday, a distance that he has won twice. If you go back, he's won twice over 1500, so he likes the distance. Add the fact that he's in superb condition, the stable's in red hot form, Manuel Nunes riding on top of his game, and he's going to be a big factor this weekend. Obviously, the big question mark is, can he give all that weight away to Play Another Tune, who's obviously a decent horse as well? I think Play Another Tune's got 54.
54, yeah.
So he's got 61. So that's a 7 kilo swing between Bad Attitude and Play Another Tune. So that looks like you said earlier on, looks like it's going to be
because there's also Crazy Vision and Gingerbread Man in there.
Yeah, so it looks like it's going to be quite an exciting race. But Bad Attitude, holding his form well. I've always been a fan of Bad Attitude, and like I said, he's won those 2 1500s. He's in a 1500 again on Saturday, so he's going to be ideally distance suited. Right, a horse that I also liked yesterday was Flower Blue.
Flower Blue, right. He's had a 1 run this season, but he couldn't land a blow against Boria. He's been working well ever since, as if he badly needed the run that day. With the benefit of 1 run under the belt now and some nice win during these recent weeks, he could bag a win this season. He did win twice in 2017 when he won on International Day 2, and once last year when he was with Simon Jones. Not the soundest of horse probably, because he does have some health issues, but once the Rameshwar Gujadhur team finds the right race for him, I do believe Flower Blue will give them a big run.
Okay, well, that's Flower Blue. I have to say he has been working quite well for quite a while now. Another horse that has been improving steadily is Red Indy. I remember fancying him last time again, Watch Me Dad. He was 14 to 1. I doubt we're going to be getting 14 to 1 this time. Listen, there was a decent run behind Watch Me Dad, and he's just a horse that's sort of been improving steadily all the time. A horse that I've been following for quite a long time, and like I said, I did fancy him last time. Unfortunately, he was drawn bad, so was Watch Me Dad, but maybe if he had a better draw that day, maybe he would have won. Let's see what happens this weekend. He is running in the, I think he's nominated in the last race. If he gets a good draw, I'm expecting a big run. Remember, that extra 50 meters will definitely be in his favor. The fact that Pierre Stradum has ridden him now as well, he knows him a lot better as well. So a big runner in the lucky last on Saturday.
That's right.
All right, and the last horse we're going to talk about is Paddington's Luck. Another horse that ran a very good race last time.
That's right. You mentioned 2 of your 2 followers. I mentioned one of mine now. Well, like you said, great run over 1850 last time, finishing only 1 length off Uncle JB. He didn't get a clear run that day. He had to get through some traffic problems, but he flew home once he got the gap. He's entered in race 7 over 1600 meters in a 0.26. If the step back to a mile is not too sharp for him, I reckon he's going to give Captain Gun Wild a real tough time.
Okay. All right, well, that'll be an interesting race there as well, Paddington's Luck and Captain Gone Wild. I know. Well, you know where I'm going. I'm going
Yeah,
Captain Gone Wild. Okay. Well, thanks very much for joining us. Remember our Friday morning show On the Mark, where we will be talking about this race meeting. Looks like it's going to be another exciting day's racing. And then obviously next week will be the build-up to the Barbie Cup. We've got a double header next week, the Saturday racing and Sunday racing. So be sure to watch our show on Wednesday. Hopefully we can find you a couple of winners as far as training is concerned. And then Friday evening on Waza Radio, the three of us will be back. And it's quite a fun show, and we sort of give our predictions for Saturday racing as well. But remember, Friday morning On the Mark, Friday evening Waza Radio. We'll catch up with you then. Goodbye. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.